Hi, Irene here. Thanks for stopping by. I have an Embossing 101 video for you today. There's always new people coming into the scrapbooking card making world, and embossing might be a little intimidating, so I just wanted to share a few tips and tricks on how to be more successful when you heat emboss. Doesn't require a whole lot of supplies to start off with. You obviously need some paper. You will need a stamp set. You're going to need a special type of ink. I use Versamark, and this is an embossing ink or a watermark ink. And what this is a sticky clear ink, and it allows the embossing powder to stick to it so that you can heat emboss it. You will need embossing powder. This one is gold, but it comes in all different kinds of colors. I have black, I have silver, I have, this one is a clear, and then I also have a white, but it does come in different colors. So whichever color works for your project. And then lastly, you are going to need a heat tool. A hairdryer will not work. It does not get hot enough. So you definitely need to invest into a heat tool. So let me show you. I use a stamping platform when I do my heat embossing, partially because it allows me to repeat the stamp if it doesn't, or repeat the image if it doesn't stamp clear enough. You can also get a anti-static pouch because the embossing powder will stick to like the oils on your skin. So if you get oils on your paper, it can stick to that as well. And use a couple of paintbrushes. These are just cheap Michaels ones to help clean up any strays, and then something as simple as a clothespin or your reverse tweezers. So let's bring in our paper. And what's important about the stamping platform, like I said, it allows you to do multiple images or multiple pressings of that image. So, but to do so, you need to make sure your paper is always in the same position. Otherwise, you're going to end up with like a shadow image. You need your stamp. I'm just going to do this little butterfly here. Just place it down. You're going to place it face down like you were stamping on there. Give it a good press, and then you're going to lift up. And you see how my paper moved. So I'm going to readjust that. Hold it back down with a magnet. Now you want to take your anti-static pouch, and you're just going to rub it all over your paper. On white cardstock, you cannot see it. On colored cardstock, it will show up. You have to wipe it away. You're going to take your Versamark or your embossing ink, and you want to do a lot of small light taps. You don't want to push down too hard so you don't muddy up your image. Bring it over and then give it a nice firm press, but not too hard. Again, too hard will muddy the image. It'll splay it out and it won't be as crisp and clean. See it lifted up again. I'm going to reposition it back into the corner. Hold it back down, and I'm going to come in one more time. You cannot see the image unless you hold it up to the light, but believe me, it is there. You'll see that once we sprinkle it with the embossing powder. And I normally do 3 passes. Again, I don't push too hard, especially if you're doing like sentiments and the words are really small and delicate. You just want to give it a few taps, and again, just come back and forth numerous times, and you'll have a really nice, crisp, clean image. So let's do it one more time. Tap, tap, tap. Bring it over and give it a final push. Alrighty. So let's lift that up and clear our Misti out of the way. I'm going to bring in a piece of printer paper. It's just my extras that I use when I print things out, and I don't throw them away. I always save them. So we're going to take our embossing powder and sprinkle it on. Some people use a coffee filter underneath, which works really well too. Seems like we're going to be using a lot of embossing powder, but this all will get funneled back in. I'm going to give it another pass. I'll just shake it around a little. I'm going to knock it all off and just give it a couple of nice little taps. So I'm going to bring this up for you to look at, And you can see my hand is not super steady, otherwise I would get in there and clear out that. But if you have some strays that are just hanging around, you could just come through with your paintbrush and just wipe them away. So let me place that down and funnel this all back, because like I said, you will just keep reusing it. It goes a long, 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 long way. Some people take like a Swiffer cloth and they will wipe everything back down, and that will help clean it off, because you really don't want to leave it on your station. I'm going to heat up my heat gun. While that's heating, and it's a little loud, so I'm going to place it to the side. I just want to show you some of the things I have heat embossed. And this here is an image that I just stamped with, you know, that nice pink ink, and then I came back, so that's the base stamp, and then I came back with my embossing ink and I did the outline and then embossed it in gold. This one here, let me try to shimmer it there, is I did in the silver. So again, stamp the car, the background in a blue ink, I think that's boho blue, and then did the embossing powder in silver. This is just an outline stamp of a leaf, and this is done in the black. And then this is the clear embossing powder done on colored cardstock. So one nice thing you can really do with any of the embossing inks people do is an emboss resist. They will emboss, and if you did this like on here, you can come back in and ink up over the top. It will not stick to your embossing powder. So it's actually pretty cool. Let's move these out of the way. I'm going to hold my paper here with a clothespin because, again, this is super hot. And I'm sorry, I'm going to actually turn this down to low. And when I heat emboss, I will start on the front, and you want to keep moving your heat gun because you don't want to burn it. You want to come from the back, and you can heat it up this way. I always love watching the magic happen. See if we can get it to heat them or melt from behind it. You see that one corner? You just keep coming front and back until it is completely melted. Goes out of the way. Oops. Runaway paintbrush. And as you can see, it just heat embosses it just gorgeously. Sometimes it becomes a little wonky. You can just try to straighten it out. You can stick it between a couple of books to flatten it, or if you use some foam tape or sheets when you want to, if you want to put it on a card, you can use that to hold it down and it helps flatten it out. You can come back in and you could actually use your Stampin' blends or watercolor, and as long as you're using appropriate paper, and then you could come in here and you can watercolor in there. But super simple. You, like I said, you don't need a lot of supplies. It adds so much to your layouts, even if it's just a little touch here or a little touch there. So hope you enjoyed this tip on heat embossing, and I will see you soon. Have a good one. Bye. All of the products I used will be listed in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a like, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Until next time.